I'm Johnny Price, and this is another of our Talking Head film analyses, where we are not so much concerned with how good a movie might be, as we are with the ideas that come out of the movie. Midnight in Paris is Woody Allen's most financially, commercially successful film in years. And it is clearly his best picture since his 2005 feature, Match Point. And that was his best picture since his masterpiece, Crimes and Misdemeanors, which was released in 1989. Now, both of those films were, as is much of Allen's work, multi-layered and philosophical and a deep exploration. But this is not the case with Midnight in Paris. He has a single point that he wants to make. It is a significant point, but he pursues it in a very straightforward and delightfully engaging manner. His main character, Gil, is in Paris with his fiancée and her family, and he's a screenwriter who has a desire to write a novel. And the novel that he is working on concerns a man who owns a nostalgic shop. Gil himself is highly nostalgic, not for the early years of his life, but for what he considers the good old days of Paris in the 1920s. Well, one night, walking around town, wandering the streets, around midnight, the clock strikes 12. And Gil is approached by a taxi, a vintage automobile from the 20s, whose occupants include F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald. Encouraged to climb in and join them, he subsequently encounters Ernest Hemingway, Cole Porter, and Josephine Baker. This turns out to be more than an isolated incident, but rather a nightly excursion, which results in encounters with Salvador Dali, T.S. Eliot, Gertrude Stein, Pablo Picasso, and Picasso's current mistress, Adriana, with whom Gil begins to fall in love. And she with him, incidentally. One night, Gil and Adriana are out together, in her own world, of course. The clock strikes 12, and a very impressive-looking horse and carriage pull up, which they enter, and are taken to the Moulin Rouge, where they encounter, of course, Toulouse-Lautrec, along with Paul Gauguin. Now, for Adriana, this is her dream age. The golden age in her mind, Paris in the late 1800s. Although a couple of the people that they meet insist that they would have rather lived in the Renaissance. And Gil suddenly has an epiphany, and Woody Allen makes his point. The danger of the type of nostalgia that Gil suffers from is that it creates an illusion and then a veil, which prevents a person from seeing and appreciating the unique characteristics and opportunities his own day offers. and opportunities that are not seen cannot be seized. Of course, Woody Allen's view of the universe pretty much negates any advantage any particular age happens to have anyway. Gil is Allen's alter ego, and he has Gil describe the universe as a cold, violent, meaningless place. Vintage Woody Allen. But there is another take to the question of the importance of the time and place in which an individual lives. Rather than being a cold, violent, and meaningless universe, the Bible tells us that it was actually created, and that our Creator deliberately established the times and places, the times and boundaries of our habitation. In other words, this is your time and your place. You are here, wherever here is for you. And you are here now, not by accident, but for a purpose. You were created and called to be here. Now, you were born for such a time as this. I'm Johnny Price. This has been another of our Talking Head film analyses.